On this page, we are converting to and from decimal and fraction form. You can use a calculator and divide for the fraction to decimal form, but because these are already used in the power of 10, you don't have to. It's easy to figure out what it is. Let me emphasize the importance of how many digits are after the decimal sign. That is how you know how to set it up. The ones that we're doing together, you've got this decimal, and then you've got 2 digits. That's significant. You've got your big decimal, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. You've got your decimal, and you've got 1, 2, 3 digits. I don't have to do anything, but I can tell you exactly how many zeros, 1, 2, 3, are going to be in the denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1, 2 zeros. That was easy, and that's typically the hardest part, or the part that people have the most difficulty getting correct. And so this is a really good method that will ensure that you get it right and you don't have any difficulties with it. However many digits to the right of the decimal, that's how many zeros you have in your denominator. That's simple. So this is 900ths, so 900ths. This is 1,043 10,000ths. Stick my 1 on here. 1, 0, 4, 3. See how simple that is? This is 45 thousandths. Stick my 1 here, 45. 45 thousandths. And do that with the rest. It'll always get you the right answer. Now on this side, you're going the opposite direction. So what I can do here is, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So I'm going to put my little decimal and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. I know there will be 4 digits after the decimal. I have 3 zeros, so I've got 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal. I've got 2 zeros, I've got 2 digits after the decimal. Now I'll go in and go back and fill them in. 9527, 9527, all right. So that actually got 1 digit for every space. 9, 9, 5, 2, 7. Now here, I've only got 2 digits, but I've got 3 spaces. So when I write it, I end up putting a 0 after the decimal. You fill in all the extra spaces with zeros. 1300ths, that's perfect. Now I'm going to go back and write this without all the lines. There. That is the proper way to write it. This is kind of my work to get to that point. Percent means per 100. Think about that as you work with these. Per 100. We're converting among fractions, decimals, and percents. Let's start with number 3 with 875 thousandths in decimal form. Well, from decimal to fraction, this is what we just did. I see that I've got 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 zeros. 875. Now, let me write that a little bit neater. Now, this can be reduced, so I want us to reduce this. I know that 25 goes into all of them. If I reduce it by 25, 25 goes into 100 4 times, so this will be 40. 25 is like a quarter. So if I have 800 cents, like $8, would be 4 times 8, 32. So 25 goes into 800 32 times, plus 25, 50, 75, 35. Oh wow, I can still reduce that one more time. Since I ran out of room, I rewrote it to make it neater. I can reduce that by 5, 7/8. Wow, who knew that that is 7/8? Doesn't that seem so much more understandable to you than that? Yeah, I ate 7/8 of the pizza. Yeah, I ate 875 1/1000ths of the pizza. That's why we reduce fractions. We make it as concrete and visual as possible. 875 thousandths. Percents are hundredths. Hundredths. So we're going to move this over 2 places. You always move the decimal 2 places from decimal to percent form because it's per 100. So boop, boop. So that becomes 87.5%. You will have a 0.5% on number 2, and you'll have a 0.5% on number 10. Number 4, fraction to decimal. You can, 1/4, you get to the point where you automatically know what that is. If you're not sure, you can divide it out. You can use it long division. You can use your calculator, 1 divided by 4. I know that 1/4 of $1 is a quarter. 1/4, written in decimal form, is 25 hundredths. If you don't believe me, get your calculator, 1 divided by 4, and see what you get. 25 hundredths will be 25%. 25 hundredths, 25 per 100. You see how that's the same thing? This is per 100, this is per 100. 25 hundredths, 25% per 100. And you see you move it 2 places, 1, 2, 1, 2. You've got a whole number. Most of these you'll end up with a whole number. Be careful on number 7. This is not going to be 3%. Let me just tell you that. Finally, this one, 62.5%. Well, if you move it 2 places to the right to go to percent, then you move it 2 places to the left to go from percent to decimal. Joop, joop. So you're going to have 0.625. It's 62 hundredths and 5 thousandths. 62 hundredths and 5 thousandths. It's the same. When I write this in decimal form, I can tell you, because it ends in a 5, that I'll be able to reduce it. So I've got 1, 2, 3 digits to the right. So I'm going to have a 1 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. I am writing it small over here to make room for the reducing I know what I'll have to do. 625. You can reduce these, and you can start by reducing by 5 if you want. And each time you reduce it, the numbers will get a little bit smaller, and each time you reduce it, it'll be easier to reduce again, easier to see if you need to reduce it again. I know that 25 goes into both of them, so I'm going to start reducing by 25. Obviously, when I reduced 875 thousandths by 25, that still wasn't enough because I still had to reduce again. So don't be so caught up on trying to make sure you reduce it by the biggest number possible that you make it harder than it needs to be. If you want to just start with 5, go ahead and start with 5 and just keep reducing it until you've reduced it out. It doesn't matter. You'll still end up with the same result as long as your math is accurate. But I'm going to do 25 because 25 for me is easy. I already know that 25 goes into 1,000 40 times. So 600 would be $6. 24, there are 24 quarters and $6. 25. See, look here. I have to reduce it again. 25 40ths. So we'll reduce that by 5. Be 5/8. So this one's 5/8. when you have eighths, when you convert fractions of eighths to decimals, you're always going to have 3 digits after the decimal. This one's 7/8, you've got 3 digits. This one's 5/8, you've got 3 digits. I can tell you number 10 will be something eighths because it's got those 3 digits. Just a heads up on there. Take one last look at our work before you're on your